Hi everyone, back to do a rescape today. So yeah, I haven't rescaped the tank or changed any of my existing tanks for a long time, and I felt it was about time to change up this one here next to me. So for those of you that saw my sort of fish room video, where I took you around and showed you and talked about each tank, I sort of mentioned this one here was a plant farm, and I wanted to use it to grow any of the plants that I didn't need in my other displays, but didn't want to throw out in case I needed them in the future. And really, there's not that many plants in there at the moment, and it's not that useful. They are very slow growing because it's currently just inert sand and there isn't much nutrients going on. So I wanted to change that, and I wanted to make it look a little bit better. I like wood in aquariums, and this Iwagumi style layout doesn't quite do it for me. So I wanted to change it up before some new inhabitants, well, old inhabitants, add into this tank. It's going to be the forever home for the clown killifish, the Epipates annulatus, that I've currently got in a different state upstairs. That one is a short-term biotope style that will be sort of taken down after it started looking really good, and the fish will then live in this planted tank for the rest of their lives, in theory, while I do something else upstairs. So I want to get this sorted, established and maturing before the fish come back down. So first of all, I'm just going to show you a few of the products that I'm going to be using. I got too excited when I got the deliveries this week that I opened them up straight away and didn't do a live unboxing or any of that. I just wanted to see what was inside. So first of all, the substrate I'm going to be using is an Aquaforest natural substrate. That's going to go underneath a sand bed, mixed in with some Aquaforest lava rock, and this should hopefully keep the sort of substrate a bit more aerated and provide a lot of surface area in the tank. The filter on this is a very small sponge filter, so a lot of the bacteria is actually colonised in the sand bed and within the tank. Sort of how I run my botanical method aquariums as well, where the leaf litter provides all the surface area needed. In theory, the substrate should provide a lot of that. It's going to be a very low stocked tank anyway, so there shouldn't be any issues with waste buildup. So I'm going to use that and their fertilisers to run this tank, and hopefully I should get really good results in the plant growth and be able to actually use some cuttings in other plants, which I haven't been able to do because they don't grow quick enough. So yeah, that's the first thing, Aquaforest, and then I got delivery of hardscape and a couple plants from Horizon today, so that's what I've been waiting for. I had to find some plants and hardscape that I wanted, and now this piece here is absolutely beautiful. I can't wait to try and see if I can get this to look really good. I think this is an absolutely beautiful piece. This is Honshu wood, I think, something like that. Something I've never heard of before. I saw it on there, and their sample photo looked interesting, and I thought, why not? Let's give it a try. I've been debating whether to go to a shop and hand-pick the hardscape or let someone else do it, and I let someone else do it, and I'm not sure who it was up at Horizon that picked it out. I know it wasn't Charlotte. She refused to pick out for me. She said the pressure was too much, which is true. I would have absolutely rinsed her if she didn't pick out a good quality hardscape, so fair enough. So this is the main bulk of my hardscape. I've got some geostone as well, georock, to go in there as well. So I'll show you those bits as I unpackage them and get things ready. The first thing to do though is to drain this tank, catch all the shrimp out. I've also got a few corridors in there, and they'll go into a different tank, probably with my Hypercentrus debilitaire zebraplex, Columbia zebraplex. All the shrimp are going to be housed in a bucket with the filter, so they can all stay alive, because it's evening already, Friday evening already. I've got work tomorrow, so I need to make sure that I get as much done tonight, and if I don't get a chance to fill it back up, the shrimp will be okay in a large sort of 30 litre bucket with their filter running. The whole room is about 23 degrees, so plenty warm enough, and I just won't feed them that much and make sure that sort of it stays water circulating around. The shrimp and the filter should stay fine and alive. So yeah, that's the plan. I'm going to time-lapse emptying this because nobody wants to see me siphoning water and sand out of the tank for hours on end. So yeah, siphon, clean out, and let's get going. So I made a complete and utter mess. The place looked like a bomb's hit, but the tank is now empty and sort of cleaned down. I'm going to fill it back up. I'm going to use a lot of that sand to top off the plant substrate anyway. So I'm not going to bother removing it all. What's the point? Oh, you can see my washing machine there. So yeah, time to get our plant substrate in, cover it over, and play around with some hardscape. I might just pop the hardscape in, or the wood in first, and see how it looks, because I'm intrigued. And then plant substrate and go from there. So just looking at the size of the piece of wood and the dimension of the tank. The tank is 90 by 30 by 30, or 3 foot by 1 foot by 1 foot. And the wood, I think, is about the right size. It looks pretty good. Once I get some rocks in around the base and some sand to dig it in and stand upright, I think it's going to look really good. So I'm going to take all that out, substrate in. So, got my pot of lava soil. It's absolutely lovely texture and colour. But unfortunately I'm not going to be able to see any of it, because maybe I should have got some red lava and used that as a scatterer as well. That could have been quite good. But anyway, not doing that. This is going in to give me some height and to keep the substrate sort of loose, because it's such a coarse grain, it will keep sort of oxygen being able to flow through that deeper substrate areas, and also acts as a bit of a plant substrate. So I'm going to mix this in with some of the natural substrate. This is more of a clay-based plant substrate, which has got a lot more nutrients in. So I'm going to have that in mixed around that, lava soil, and then sand over the top, and see how it works. I don't really know what I'm doing, as you can tell. I'm not a planted tank guy, but I wanted to give it a go. We'll see how it works. I'm just going to test some of this lava soil and give it a wash, see if it needs a wash. I'm not going to wash the clay because it's going to be finer particles and it's just going to make an absolute mess. No need to wash that. Because it's such a granular, I think maybe I could just give it a quick rinse and it would be better off. So it's rinsed off a bit, and you can see it's a little bit murky, but not too bad. I think I'll give it a wash just to be sure, and then I'll get it into the tank. I just don't really want it to cloud up too much once I fill it. So I've got a small layer of lava sand, lava gravel, whatever it's called, lava soil, across the bottom, focusing sort of the back right hand corner, because that's where I'm going to have it deepest and most heavily planted. So now I'm going to pour over this. This is the natural substrate, if I can get into it. I'm going to get something to pour because my jug doesn't fit in. I dried it out quite a bit, and then I've sprinkled out a decent amount over the top of the lava soil, and it's got a lovely texture. This it's going to be quite muddy and clayey, and it's going to break up and discolour the water and cloud if I left it uncapped. But I'm thinking sedimentous substrates, botanical method aquariums, turbidity is all like accepted in those sorts of stuff. Mix in a bit of sand, and this could make a really nice sort of full substrate once settled with really low flow, so it doesn't get kicked up. But anyway, I'm going to top this with some sand and then start playing around with some hardscape. as a first attempt, I think that could look okay. I think I'm going to have a little play, see if I can get it looking any better. But I think that might work. I do have a third piece. But the shape of it isn't going to fit in this tank, so I'd have to cut a bit off. So I could cut this bit here off and have a straighter piece sticking up somewhere. So I'm going to play around, see if that will work. I might cut this arm off and get a bit more wood in there. But overall, I think I paid for the right amount of hardscape, which I've never done before. So I think I'm quite happy with that. I've got it so that the wood is sort of creeping over the rocks a little bit. It's quite busy, but not too busy. There's plenty of space for planting. And I can hide these sort of ugly bits with some Anubias that I've brought, and the gaps here, and then fill it out with some other plants. I'm not sure I'm going to have enough plants. I think I should have brought some more. But I think that could look quite good. So I've attempted to glue pieces. You can see there's a bit of cotton wool here, back there, and then behind this piece as well. All of the bits of wood, other than the fine twiggy bits, which I can put back in quite easily, have in some way been glued. It's just whether they hold. I'm going to now cover those pieces of glue with the Anubias that I brought. Anubias, so it came from Horizon. Here we go. We've got Batari Petite, that's the one. So I'm going to divide that up and hopefully use that to cover the little bits of cotton wool. And then plant the foreground with Helanthium tenellum. So I'm going to fill it up with a little bit of water. All of the plants other than the tenellum are already sort of adapted to aquatic environments, so they won't be able to support their weight and they're just going to fall all over the sand, and it's going to be a bit of a nightmare to try and sort of plant around them because I'm not going to know where they're actually going to sort of stand up. So my plan is I'm going to fill it sort of maybe a third, plant the plants in and then top it up the rest of the way. We'll see how clouded it gets, and yeah, let's go for it. Done. I'm going to fill it up and see how it goes. Because I'm going to fill up straight from the tap water, I'm going to use some water conditioner. It's about a 90 litre tank, so that'll be about 5 mil, I believe. 10 mil, sorry, 10 mil. So not too bad at all. And there we have it, all filled up. I've not put the filter or any of the shrimp back in. I want to let it sort of settle in. I'll then do a water change on it tomorrow to get rid of any of the cloudiness. Put an air stone in there just to have some water movement so the plants are okay. And it's time to relax because it's now far too late and I'm hot and tired. So here you go. As you can see, there is a lot of growing to do, but I've got a lot of tenellum across the front, which should hopefully grow in really nicely. I think the Anubias is going to look really nice. It's got a much darker green to any of the other plants I'm using, and I'm really hoping that the balansae will continue turning red like it was before I took it out of the tank. At some point I want to put some tiger lotus in the back there. At the moment it's just the pearlweed and Limnophila, and I would like some larger leaf shape in the back there. So that's my plan, is to have it just probably slightly off centre, popping up in that gap here. Just a nice pop of red and a larger leaf coming up there. But all in all, I'm quite impressed. I quite like the hardscape layout. I think the planting could be a bit better, but I did just use stuff that I already had. And that's the idea of this tank, is to farm and to keep lots of different species of plants going. So yeah, that's it. I did add a bit of Java fern. I think I didn't mention it, but today when I was in the water tank, I added a bit of Java fern at the top here. There's just a bit of an ugly spot where that bit of wood was coming out, and over down here where there's the end of the wood was slightly visible. So I just added a bit of Java fern in there and next to this Anubias here. And there's also, I had two little bits of Bucephalandra. It's either Kedagan or Katarina, I'm not sure which had fallen off some of the other hardscape that I had in a different tank. So I've just popped that in here to see if that all will cover and do anything. They're tiny and just about hanging on, so I'm not holding out much hope. But yeah, overall quite pleased. Time to catch some shrimp out of the bucket that's sat next to me and add them to the tank. So I've got all of these shrimps in a net now, so I can transfer them over. These are all blue and red rilly shrimp, so Neocaridina. And these have been with me for many years, just sort of growing in all sorts of different tanks. And I just, again, like to keep the population going, so they'll be home to this tank where I'm going to be keeping the plant population going as well. So let's transfer them over and hopefully they adapt well to their environment. This water that they are housed in is the same as what's in there, so there is no chance of any sudden sort of deaths from bad acclimation. So I'm not on the tripod, so sorry for any shaky videos, but I just thought I should just zoom in on a couple of the shrimp. So they've all been transferred over now. I'm going to make sure I feed them a bit more regularly than I normally do, because it's a new tank, there's not so much natural food sources for them. But I really do like these guys. Neocaridina, a firm favourite for many, I'm sure. But yeah, there's the tank. The Anubias is looking real nice. There's the Java fern I mentioned, and some balansae that's going a bit reddy brown. So yeah, let's see how it grows in. I'll update you all, I'm sure. Let me know if there's anything you would do differently. Obviously it's not the best pristine. I need to catch all of this floating plant stuff out that I just added in with the shrimp. But yeah, it's not the most well planned, thought out tank. The hardscape took me 20 minutes to put together, and the planting wasn't thought out at all. It was just, I've always had some of these species, so it was just an easy way to fill up a tank. But I don't know, it's turned out okay. But yeah, anyway,